Yes guys, welcome back to the Spurs Talk Show. How you doing? I'm Sean Butler. Bugsy Malone is over there doing the things she likes to do, chasing balls, chasing squirrels, chasing metaphorical goals. I hope you guys are keeping yourselves out of trouble, doing the things you love with those that you love to do them with. Guys, it is the big one this weekend, the game that every Tottenham fan and Arsenal fan looks forward to checking out when we will be meeting on the fixture schedule, the calendar. And it's this Sunday, 2 p.m. kickoff at White Hart Lane, early in the season for a North London derby. Maybe a little bit too early to kind of really understand where both teams are at in terms of form, in terms of fitness, in terms of being able to go into this with a level of confidence as a fan of your club that can give you some sort of direction of how you think it will play out. Arsenal fans, to me, come across a little bit more nervy, a little bit more concerned than I've seen them going into the previous 2 or 3 North London derbies. Recently, in recent times, last couple of years, and you can understand why, given their performances in the games, performances in the league overall, and the kind of gap that they've created between us again, that they've gone in quite cocksure and cocky that they're going to be able to smash us at their place and, you know, not get beaten at ours. But this time around, I feel like there's a little bit more nerves in their camp. Maybe it's not necessarily because of Tottenham's form, which has been up and down. You know, 4 points from 9 isn't the greatest start to the season, but I think the more optimistic Tottenham fans, the more kind of glass half full Tottenham fans that are out there are, as far as I can tell at least, and I'm saying this with a kind of conflated opinion perspective, they are looking at this and saying, well, Tottenham, yes, like, you know, the results haven't been spectacular and it is a results-based business, but the performances, there's just that little final piece of the jigsaw around conversion that's missing. And if we get that stuff sorted, then good things can happen for Tottenham this year. As always, though, there is the other side of the coin, guys, and that is, you know, the kind of less optimistic, the people that want to, or that don't necessarily want to, but view things at Tottenham as, you know, frustrating, or a lack of unpredictability, a lack of a plan B, a consistent, unwavering belief in a certain style of football that many perceive will be the ultimate undoing of Ange Postecoglou, because at this level of the game, you need a degree of flexibility in your thinking, flexibility of thought when it comes to tactics. Keep people guessing. The very best managers do not rest on their laurels and stay too predictable for too long with the way they play, even with the best squads. And Tottenham, whilst they have improved their squad this summer, certainly don't have the best squad in the league. When it comes to injuries, we're not sure really what's going on. We've heard from the local and the usual names in the kind of field of journalism that there is an expectation that Dominic Solanke will be back. There is an expectation that Micky Van De Ven will be back. There is an expectation that Bissouma's injury, that maybe was or wasn't picked up during the week playing for Mali, will also be back, and so that Tottenham might look forward to a full-strength team. However, apparently, it's been so far impossible to tell or validate those suggestions, because apparently there's been no sign of these players at the training ground, or at least no pictures have emerged of them training in the lead up to what is the biggest game of the season, of the first 4 games at least so far. To me, guys, like I say, you know, if you have been following the channel, that I've been absent for most of the summer, or for all of the summer, and I'm just trying to get back to it. Things have been going on in the private life which have keep my mind completely occupied on that rather than Tottenham. And so I kind of come at this from a place of without bias, I hope without bias, hopefully balanced in my ignorance of what's been going on at Tottenham, that I don't choose to view Tottenham's situation right now through any particular lens. I'm open-minded to both sides of the coin, both sides of the conversation. I completely understand the arguments around predictability, but I also completely understand the idea that, you know, we are a nascent outfit with a very young nucleus and, you know, a heavy composition within our squad that is based on youth and therefore inexperience, but hopefully exuberance and a guile, a determination to prove themselves this year. We are going through a change, a sea change, a tidal change in the outfit, the makeup of the squad over the last 2 years. And I think that when you combine all those variables and the fact that it's such a 180-degree pivot in our footballing philosophy with very unique characteristics to the way that Ange ball is played that's different to how most teams play football with a double inversion, a lot for a young team with relative inexperience of playing together to take on all at the same time. And so I think you have to give, as I've said this on Henry's show last night, I think I said it the other day as well on my own channel, I think that you have to give this team a little bit more time and a little bit more patience than you would otherwise afford other managers walking into other teams, because there's so much change happening at Tottenham and the changes are so distinct and granular that you'd be naive to think that any team or any player can just walk in and understand it from the word go. That said, it is a results business, and Tottenham fans have to remain, whilst patient and understanding. They still have their expectations and demands of a season. And you'd hope that when we're fighting on 4 fronts, that we have a squad now that is capable and balanced enough. The drop-off in quality from the first 11 to the bench is not quite as steep as it was or has been over the last couple of years. In the most part, we have options now for competition for places in every department, absent possibly the left side of defence. Generally speaking, there's no real obvious backup for Destiny Udogie and no obvious square peg for square hole backup for Micky Van De Ven, and both of those players are so meaningfully influential and significant that their absence will be felt and amplified, especially given the fact that if both of them are out at the same time, then how you go about replacing both of them and the options that we currently have to fill those gaps are certainly not natural replacements for the system and may result in dipping into this versatility pool that we have, which is obviously a wonderful trait. It's nice to have versatility, it's nice to have options, but also with versatility comes a lack of specificity, a lack of speciality, and a lack of, as I say, square pegs for square holes. It'll be interesting to see what happens on the weekend. Like I say, I'm going into it fairly ignorant, and with that ignorance comes a level of kind of open-mindedness to seeing any kind of result. I wouldn't be surprised to see Tottenham get the 3 points. I wouldn't be surprised to see Arsenal get the 3 points. I wouldn't be surprised to see Tottenham put in a really, really hard-fought and impressive display with plenty of possession and plenty of opportunities, or half opportunities. It's just whether or not Tottenham can take those chances and convert them into meaningful attempts at goal and hopefully get 1 or 2 or maybe ideal world 3 past the Arsenal defence, a defence that has proven to be incredibly forthright and stubborn over the last couple of years. In terms of Arsenal's team going forward, look, they're probably going to play pacey options up front. Sterling, Saka, Martinelli, with probably Kai Havertz sitting in the 10 or the kind of that more advanced role if it's true that Odegaard is out. And that's both a blessing and a curse in and of itself. Odegaard, the stats are, I think, very, very clear that Arsenal are a different team with Odegaard in it than they are without it. And obviously behind him, they've come to rely very much on their £100 million player, as you would, in Declan Rice. And the noise out of the Arsenal camp is that both of those players are looking less likely to be fit than likely for the game. And so that presents Tottenham with an opportunity to take advantage, because Arsenal without those 2 players will obviously be meaningfully weaker, inferior in that midfield and advanced positions. However, the options that they do have off the bench will prove to test Tottenham in a counter-attacking, paced game, quick pivot, transitional tactic. And I think that's where Arteta is going to land when it comes to making up his mind on how to set Arsenal up on the day. I think that they are going to sit there and afford Tottenham most of the possession. So don't be surprised to see Tottenham with 65 to 70% possession over the 90 minutes. But it all comes down to what Tottenham do in possession of the ball, how Can we convert? What happens when we get the ball out wide? Are we taking the players on? Are we going to have any success down the flanks? Are we going to need to request or rely on James Maddison to not necessarily come deep all of the time and then be absent in his most important positions when the ball is at the top end of the pitch? I don't know. It's going to be interesting and fascinating to see. It's one of the best games of the season in terms of fan ferocity. It's one of the best games of the season in terms of just two teams going at it, you know, hammer and tong. And in terms of tactics, you've got someone in Ange Postecoglou who is incredibly stubborn in his setup and relies on the philosophy that we'll do ours better than you'll do yours, even if it is predictable. Whereas Mikel Arteta is not afraid to change things up and to tell his team to not be greedy and to take advantage of the shape and the structure in which you face. And that will be one where, when we lose the ball in transition with the likely lineup at the top end of the pitch, then it's going to be interesting to see how quickly Tottenham can get back and how devastating Arsenal can be on the counter. And we saw in games last season, Saka against Ben Davies, all it took was one opportunity and they punished us. And that's what it's going to come down to. Moments. Bugsy, shut up, please, mate. Sorry, guys. Sorry about her. She's in a very noisy mood this morning. She's been barking all morning. That's what it's going to come down to. Ultimately, do you take your chances? Which team takes the chances they're afforded? Which team does the better, holding the other team off? Obviously, that's what most games come down to. But I think in this particular game, the stakes are so much higher, and the outcomes will be amplified. Whoever gets the 3 points will look forward with great optimism. Whoever doesn't get the 3 points will see their league ambitions probably dwindle, if not be extinguished. It's too early to extinguish anything after 4 games. But certainly, Bugsy, shut up! Hey, stop it! Stop it! She won't listen to me today. Have you missed that, by the way? Everyone telling me, get Bugsy back on the show. We miss Bugsy. You missed that barking? I haven't missed it. I think it's going to be interesting, guys. I think it'll be really interesting. Look, my prediction, unfortunately, for Arsenal fans, I'm going to be loyal to my team here and say that Tottenham have got enough about them. I think we're going to win 2-1, but I think that Tottenham need to be at their very best defensively, and I think having Micky Van De Ven back into the team is going to be so important. I think that our chances of overcoming Arsenal on the break and kind of curtailing that threat in the transition is so much better, so much more amplified if you have Micky Van De Ven there. No disrespect to Radu Dragusin, but there is just horses for courses, and in this particular race, having the fastest player in the Premier League is going to be essential, in my opinion, to combat the disgusting pace in which Arsenal's forward line will present them with. So I'm going to say 2-1. I also think that Dominic Solanke might just get on the score sheet and cement his name in Tottenham folklore early on in his career, and how important that would be if he was to get the winner in a 2-1, a late header from a Pedro Porro, delayed deep cross-in, whipped cross in injury time. That would just be brilliant for our season in terms of A, getting the points, B, shutting up the rivals, and C, helping a player settle into his role that comes with a lot of pressure and expectation. There's a lot of Tottenham fans who don't mind Dominic Solanke, the player, but don't particularly like the fact that we paid 67 or whatever it was £1 million for him. And I can understand that. There's a lot of risk, well, it's a huge sum of money to pay for a player that had a fantastic season with Bournemouth last year, and it's been fairly consistent throughout his career in getting better and better. And I really like the player, I really do. But it's still a lot of money. And so with that comes a lot of responsibility. To get a goal in the North London derby in your 3rd game for your club would be a wonderful boost for his confidence, and a way to kind of soothsay to anyone out there who is doubting the acquisition and wants to feel reassured that the money was well spent. I don't think 1 goal in the North London derby will prove that, but it will certainly go some way to satisfying those that are a little bit itchy feet on the conversation, on the topic. In other news, guys, Rodrigo Bentancur has been charged by the FA for conversations that he had regarding and insulting comments he made about Heung Min's son. And I mean, that happened ages ago, didn't it? Back in June, was it? And finally, the FA have got around to charging him. It looks like he will face a ban of up to 3 games for the comments that he made. Obviously, the club have moved on. Bentancur himself hasn't been playing this week in the Uruguay internationals because he is banned for fighting in what happened in the Copa America. So yeah, he's got a bit of a disciplinary issue in his locker as old Rodrigo. But in any event, that won't sort of take place in the immediacy. And as he hasn't been playing this weekend, then you would hope to think that he'll be fit and available for selection for the weekend's game against Arsenal. And I wouldn't mind seeing him in there. In other news, transfer news. It doesn't take long for the season to start before the transfer news gets back underway again. I mentioned on last night's show with Henry there was talk that Adrien Rabiot was going to be putting out a come and get me plea to Tottenham Hotspur, to come and get him because he is available on a free transfer currently. He can join a football club for free, as is the rules of the competition, although his salary demands are extraordinary, £300,000 a week, which would put him at the highest end or the very top end of Tottenham's wage earners. I don't see it happening at that price point. I don't even see it happening at £200,000 per week. But as a player, I do like Adrien Rabiot. I think any concerns you have about the player are more around his off-field baggage with his mum, not so much what he's like as a footballer. I think he would be excellent in a Tottenham shirt. And I've been crying out for a resolution to the problem that I don't think we've solved at all this summer in Archie Gray or Lucas Bergwijn. And that is that I don't believe that Yves Bissouma should be seen as our long-term solution number 6. You know I've been calling out for a monster 6 for the best part of 2 years now, and I don't think we've solved it. I don't think Bentancur is the guy. I don't think Pape Matar Sarr is the guy. Ollie Skip wasn't the guy. Piere Emile Hojbjerg wasn't the guy. And Yves Bissouma certainly isn't the guy. Archie Gray, I'm not sure if he's the guy or not, really, to be honest. I haven't seen enough of him play at this level to be able to make that determination. I like the fact that he's versatile, but I do think, as I've always said, there's a difference between versatility and specificity. And I think in certain positions, for certain strategies and certain tactics, you need specificity at the forefront of your decision-making around player acquisition. You can't always have versatility as your predeterminant precursor to a player ID decision-making process. It's nonsense. Not every player can play a multitude of positions, and in the 6, for me, for Tottenham, for the way we play football, you need someone who is just a specialist in that role, doing the things that keep it simple, stupid, get the ball, win it back, protect the back 2 or 3, and be able to offload the ball to people that are better equipped to do things with it than they necessarily are. But you need footballing IQ, you need a nice offlay, high pass, high interception, ability to read the game. And look, for me, Adrien Rabiot, even though he's more of a kind of, he is a versatile midfielder as much as he can play a multitude of positions, I do think he could be the guy, but he won't be the guy. Another player that Tottenham have been linked with this morning is Angel Gomez, Lille, ex-Manchester United, now England debutante midfielder. I haven't seen enough of Angel Gomez to be able to kind of critique him here, but I thought I'd put the story out there for you that Tottenham are apparently in the queue of other teams that are looking at the player. He's told Lille that he doesn't want to sign a new contract. This contract is up at the end of the season, and he is sort of putting out the feelers to see who wants to bring him back to the UK. And obviously Manchester United have apparently put their feelers out and said the return is open to you if you'd like to come back, which would make sense. Newcastle United apparently are the most obvious and forthright name in the list of people that have put out the interest towards his camp. And apparently Tottenham are there too. As I say, I haven't seen enough of him to be able to really give you any kind of thoughts and feelers, apart from the feedback is that he is a very well-equipped player and he didn't look out of his comfort zone playing for England during the week. Obviously, the game was a bit dead and buried by the time he came on, but either way, a commanding and comfortable and confident performance from him. Remains to be seen whether there's any truth in the story, but I thought I'd bring it to your attention, guys. This is my first one. It's 20 minutes long. I'm trying to break the cobwebs, blow the cobwebs away from doing these walks. It's been a long time. I feel a little bit out of sorts with it. I hope this wasn't too boring for you, but that's my prediction, guys. I'm going to say 2-1 to Tottenham. I'm a lot more confident if Micky Van De Ven and Dominic Solanke are back in the team. I'm also very much okay with seeing Bentancur come in, and I'm looking forward to being back at the stadium for the first time this season. Looking forward to seeing the likes of Hojbjerg up close and seeing how maybe some of our younger players get on in the pressure cooker environment of the North London derby. Guys, let me know your predictions below. Let me know your thoughts on the game. Let me know your thoughts on Angel Gomez and Adrien Rabiot. Those were the two stories that I thought I'd just bring to your attention, but probably nothing more than that to talk about today. And Bentancur getting a ban, is it fair? Fair dues? Probably is. He needs to kind of, I don't know, buckle his ideas up a little bit when it comes to his behaviour. But we know there's a great player in Roddy, and I'm looking forward to seeing him back at his best for Tottenham. Guys, I'll leave it there. Have a wonderful, wonderful Thursday. Like, subscribe and comment. And as always, bye-bye.